Hello everyone, today I will show you how to install Blender in your computer system. First, go to a web browser of your choice and search Blender. Go to the first website, blender.org. Now, Blender is a free open source software. Go to download Blender from this tab. You can download Blender for your Mac OS or Linux system if you are using one. You can download the file from here. I'm using a Windows operating system, so I click on this. Download Blender 3.4.1. Now our setup file is being downloaded. Let's wait for it to download. Our setup file is downloaded. Let's open it. Click on next. You can read the terms and conditions license agreement from here and click on I accept the terms. Click on next. You can browse the location where you want to install Blender. I'll keep the default location. Click on next and click on install. Let's wait for it. Okay, so the installation process is complete. Let's open up the software. Okay, so Blender is not only used for 3D modeling of objects, but it has different functionalities too, which you can see here. For 3D modeling, we use general. Now let's discuss some user interface of the Blender. So Blender provides a lot of information in its UI. So no need to fear. You'll get them as you start working on it. You can see a handy display uh, at the bottom. This is an informative display that lets you know what each click can do in the context where your cursor is at the moment. So for example, uh, let's just click the middle mouse button and move your cursor. You can see that your perspective changes. Now if I hold shift and move the middle mouse button, then you can see it basically pans your perspective. So this is a basic information about this. Now here in the left side you can see these are the tools which Blender has. The first one is the select tool where you can select the objects. The second is the cursor. The third is the move tool and rotate and scaling up the objects, overall transforming the objects, adding annotations, measures, and adding a cube and etc. You can see the UI of Blender is divided into different panels. The bottom one here is basically the timeline of the animation of your scene, which you'll use for the later time. Here, this panel represents the lists of the objects that you are using in your scene. So now I have a cube, a camera, and a light. Uh, Here you can see the different viewport display. This is basically the edge wireform. Um, this is basically the solid mode of the object. This is the material preview mode, and this is the render view. Okay, we use this as per our convenience. Here above you can see the different features that you can apply to your object: modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture painting, shading. You can use nodes here, which you'll learn further: animating the scene, rendering, compositing, geometry nodes you can use. You will see it, you will learn, and you can use different features here. Now, this panel here is important. The first one here is basically represents the tool, the features of the tool which currently are using from here. So now I'm using a select box, so it's showing the properties of the select box. If I, let's suppose, use the rotate, then it shows the properties of rotate tool. The second one here is basically gives the property of the render engine. So these you can alter the properties of the render engine in here. The third one is basically the output tab, which allows you to change the output settings. The fourth one is the view layer tab, uh, typically used to separate backgrounds and characteristics passes. You'll get to know further when you use it. The fifth one is just another scene tab. Uh, the sixth one is basically the world tab. So how your sky, air, and the background color will look, you can change the properties from here. So till now, these first six tabs were basically related to viewport and render settings. Now the further tabs are basically for the properties of objects. So the first one is the collection tab, which allows you to change the properties of collections. This is the object properties tab, uh, which basically contains the basic info of the location, rotation, scales of the object. Now, this one is the modifier tab. Uh, this is a very important tab, which allows you to manipulate some of the properties of the objects using the predefined modifiers uh, provided by Blender. You can use as many of them as you want. Then comes the particle tab. You can create particle systems and apply them to the body. This one is the physics tab. Uh, Basically contains the different types of physics simulations and manipulations, like force field, collisions, dynamic paint, soft body fluid, etc. The next one is the constraint tab. It basically deals with the relationship of the object that you have selected with the other objects. So you can add different constraint to the objects. This one is the object mesh data. uh, this is the tab which ensures that this object is a cube and not other shape. You can manipulate your vertex group, shape keys, and other geometry settings from here. This one is the materials tab. As the name suggests, it allows you to select the different types of materials for your object, and you can change the color of the object as well. The last one, this is a texture tab, uh, the final tab, which allows you to create textures which you can use it in your different objects. So this was the overview of the UI of Blender. So I hope you didn't face any problem while installing the software and understood a basic UI of the software. And best of luck, and thanks for watching.